I remember that morning very clearly. The sun was shining. Birds were singing outside my window. It felt like a good day. But then I stepped on the bathroom scale. The numbers glared back at me. They were not friendly numbers. They told a story I did not like. A story of too many late-night snacks. A story of too little movement. My energy levels had been low for months. I often felt tired, even after a full night's sleep. This was not the life I wanted to live. I knew something had to change. And it had to change soon. That scale became a symbol for me. It was not just about weight. It was about how I felt. It was about my health. I thought about my family. I wanted to be active with them. I wanted to enjoy life to the fullest. But my current path was leading me away from that. The reflection in the mirror showed a person I barely recognized, someone who had let things slide a bit too far. It was a tough moment, a real wake-up call. But sometimes we need those tough moments to push us towards something better. This particular morning, however, felt different. It wasn't just disappointment I felt. There was a new feeling mixed in. This was the start of my journey. My search for a solution began almost immediately. I read books, I scrolled through countless articles online, I talked to friends, I even consulted a nutritionist. Everyone had different advice. Some said cut out carbs, others said eat more protein. Some suggested counting every single calorie. It was all very confusing. So many rules, so many restrictions. I felt overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information. I knew I didn't want another complicated diet. I had been down that road before. Those diets often made me feel deprived. They made social situations awkward. Oh, I can't eat that, I would say. It was not fun. I wanted something that could fit into my life, not something that would take over my life completely. I was looking for a lifestyle change, not just a temporary fix to shed a few pounds quickly. During my research, the concept of fasting kept popping up. At first, I was skeptical. Fasting? That sounded extreme. So what exactly is this hybrid fasting that caught my attention? It sounded a bit like a new type of car, but it was all about how we eat, or rather, when we don't eat. Hybrid fasting is not one single, strict set of rules. Instead, it's a flexible approach. It combines different types of fasting. You can tailor it to your own needs. You can adjust it to your lifestyle. This flexibility was a huge selling point for me. It felt less daunting than a one-size-fits-all plan that might not suit my daily routine or energy requirements. Imagine having a toolkit of fasting methods. Hybrid fasting lets you pick the tools that work best for you at different times. Some days you might do a gentle intermittent fast. Other days you might incorporate a short dry fast if you feel up to it. Or perhaps a day of refreshing juice fasting. The key is hybrid, meaning a mix. It's about listening to your body. It's about finding a rhythm that helps you feel good. To really understand hybrid fasting, we need to look at its main parts. Think of them as 3 strong pillars. The first pillar is intermittent fasting. You have probably heard of this one. It's very popular. Intermittent fasting means you eat only during a specific window of time each day. For example, you might eat all your meals between 12 noon and 8 p.m. This gives your body a 16-hour break from digesting food. This daily rest period can be very beneficial for your metabolism and overall health. The second pillar is dry fasting. This one might sound a bit more intense. During a dry fast, you don't eat or drink anything, not even water. Now, this is usually done for shorter periods, perhaps for 12 to 24 hours or even less when you are starting. The idea is that your body works even harder to find water and energy from within. This is thought to promote deeper cleansing. Of course, this needs to be approached carefully. And it's not for everyone, especially not for long periods without guidance. Section 5. Why I chose hybrid fasting, the spark of inspiration. After learning about the components, I felt a real connection to hybrid fasting. Why this method over all the others I had researched? Firstly, the flexibility was incredibly attractive. I have a busy life. Sometimes my schedule is predictable, other times it's chaotic. A rigid diet plan just wouldn't work for me long term. The thought of being able to adapt my fasting schedule to my life, rather than the other way around, was a game changer. This adaptability promised sustainability, which was my primary goal. Secondly, the idea of combining benefits really appealed to me. It felt like I was getting the best of all worlds. intermittent fasting for daily metabolic health, juice fasting for a nutrient boost and digestive rest, and short, careful dry fasting for potentially deeper cellular cleaning. It seemed like a more holistic approach. Rather than focusing on just one mechanism, hybrid fasting offered a multi-pronged strategy. I imagined it would be more effective, more powerful in helping my body reset and repair itself. Another reason was my past experience with very strict diets. Section 6. More than just numbers. The unexpected gifts of fasting. When I started my hybrid fasting experiment, my main goal was fat burning. I wanted to see those numbers on the scale go down. And yes, that did happen. The weight loss was noticeable. It was encouraging. But what truly surprised me were the other benefits. The gifts that fasting gave me, beyond just a smaller waistline. These were the changes that made me a true believer in this approach. These unexpected improvements touched many aspects of my daily life, making the effort incredibly worthwhile. One of the first things I noticed was a significant boost in my energy levels. I used to feel that afternoon slump, that desperate need for a coffee or a sugary snack. But a few days into my hybrid fasting routine, that slump disappeared. I felt more alert throughout the day. My mind felt clearer. It was like a fog had lifted. This mental clarity was amazing. I could focus better at work. I felt more creative. It was a wonderful, unexpected side effect. My digestion also improved dramatically. For years, I had struggled with occasional bloating and discomfort. I just assumed it was normal. Section 7. My 7-day hybrid fasting blueprint, a week of discovery. So how did I actually put hybrid fasting into practice? I decided to start with a 7-day experiment. I wanted a clear plan, but also one that allowed for some flexibility, true to the hybrid spirit. I mapped out my week. I decided to incorporate intermittent fasting on most days. This felt like a good foundation. It was relatively easy to integrate into my existing daily schedule. I chose an 8-hour eating window, typically from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. This meant I was fasting for 16 hours each day. On 2 days of that week, I planned to do something a bit different. On Wednesday, I decided to try a 24-hour juice fast. I prepared fresh vegetable and fruit juices. I drank these throughout the day whenever I felt hungry. This was to give my system a good cleanse and to flood it with nutrients. Then on Saturday, I planned a shorter dry fast. I aimed for about 16 to 18 hours of no food and no water, from Friday evening after dinner until Saturday lunchtime. I made sure to hydrate well before and after this. Section 8. Making hybrid fasting. Your friend easy steps to start. If you are curious about hybrid fasting, starting might seem a bit daunting, but it doesn't have to be. The best way is to start slowly. Don't try to do everything at once. Begin with the easiest pillar intermittent fasting. Try a 12-hour overnight fast. This means if you finish dinner at 7 p.m., you don't eat again until 7 a.m. Most people do this naturally anyway. Once you are comfortable with that, you can gradually extend the fasting window to 14 or 16 hours. When you feel ready, you can introduce another element, perhaps a day of juice fasting. Choose a day when you don't have too many commitments. Prepare your juices in advance. Make sure they are mostly vegetable-based to keep the sugar content down. Enjoy the feeling of lightness it can bring. Remember, this is about experimenting. It's about finding what feels good for your body. There's no perfect, universal plan. It's about your unique journey. Section 9. Your invitation, let's explore hybrid fasting together. My 7-day experiment with hybrid fasting was a revelation. It showed me that taking control of my health can be an empowering journey, not a journey of constant deprivation, but one of discovery and renewed energy. I found that this flexible approach to fasting worked wonders for me. It helped me shed unwanted fat. It boosted my energy levels. It cleared my mind, and it changed my relationship with food for the better. I feel lighter, healthier, and more vibrant than I have in years. Now I want to share this experience with you. Perhaps you are where I was, feeling tired, feeling frustrated with diets that don't last, looking for a sustainable way to improve your well-being. If so, I encourage you to explore hybrid fasting. It might just be the approach you've been searching for. Remember, it's not about extreme measures. It's about smart, flexible choices that you can adapt to your own life.